Conrad Hurrell, Prime Sean Johnson, Simon Mannering, Manu Vartuve, Kevin Locke. Mate, the New Zealand Warriors are in a great spot for this year.
This is 2013, right?
Shit. New Zealand Warriors 2023 preview.
Sound like you're about to give a eulogy, mate.
Yeah, look, I love the Warriors so much, but this team is just going backwards. It's going backwards.
It's a bit of like what happened, isn't it? You know, you just get so excited to watch Warriors games back in the day. I remember they used to put on points for fun, and you're looking at some of the signings that they've made in this offseason, you know, Dylan Walker on 600k, Marata Niukore, the utility / edge back rower. You don't know what his best position is for 600k as well. Then we've got Mitch Barnett, the live wire, could also throw an elbow in there as well. CNK, and then also
it's Tamari Martin as well. Look, Metcalf.
Yeah,
I'm a little excited about Metcalf. The Warriors is the right spot for him to be if he wants a shot. But let's go into these guys. I mean, look, Dylan Walker is a good player. We're not saying these guys are bad players. They're good players, but at the money, not so much worth it. You lose Reece Walsh as well. You lose Ewan Aitken. You lose Jack Murchie. Ewan Aitken on the edge was arguably the Warriors' best player last year in terms of positional rankings. Like, he was so effective.
Yeah, they've just lost so much depth. Yeah, I think with Ewan Aitken in there now, not there anymore, they're going to have to find another guy to slot into that edge back role.
They get Barnett, they get Niukore, but
they were working on Eli Katoa for a while, and it seems like he fell out of favour, and now he's gone to the Storm. I just don't see the spine doing anything of note, really. You look at a guy like Wade Egan, had a pretty decent year last year.
I like Egan.
Yeah,
like
so
Egan, yeah.
He's made that 9 spot his own. Is Sean Johnson out on the field anymore? Does anyone know? Can we file a missing persons report for Sean Johnson?
Man, I really loved Sean too. I really loved Sean.
The key word there is loved.
Loved, yeah. I still love him, but you remember him in the 9s back in the day?
Yeah,
you know, we made our 7s video, and on TikTok, everyone was just like, pick Sean Johnson, pick Sean Johnson. It's like, they were right. Prime Sean Johnson would have been a good kid.
Look,
I went Benji myself, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It's tough.
Like,
it's so tough because you want to talk about some positives for the Warriors, and what I do love about them is they are a team that's across the across the pond. They're in New Zealand, and we've wanted them to be a good team since 1995 when they came into the comp, and they've kind of become the one that everyone wants to leave. So not the one that got away, but one that everyone leaves.
When everyone gets away from.
Yeah.
I'm worried about them, though, because, you look at Isaiah Papali'i, who he was at the Warriors versus who he was at Parramatta.
Yeah.
You look at Eli Katoa, and when he kills it this year, because he will. Eli Katoa is going to go to another level this year.
Questions need to be asked.
You're worried, A lot of these guys, Harris Tavita, a player with everything at his feet, decides to retire from footy at, what was he, 23, 22? Like, he'll probably come back at some point to another club and probably make it work. But it doesn't seem like the club is inspiring anything in their players. They don't bring the best out of guys. Sean Johnson was playing pretty good footy at Cronulla before he went across. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about them.
They've had a tough couple of years. Since COVID's come into our game and made a few changes there, they've had to sacrifice a lot. And I understand some guys wanting to go home and be with their families, but at crucial times of the season, it's probably not the best. I think when Todd Payton was the coach there for a season, he just said either make a decision, stay or go. And I like that attitude. But right now I look at their roster and who is their star player? Who do you see for them getting them over the line and getting wins every week? Because it's so tough.
It's not Reece Walsh anymore.
Is it Tohu Harris? Is Tohu Harris now their best player?
I love Tohu Harris,
right?
But he's not that guy. All right, so let's go to the future then, because I think this year is a bit of a write-off for the Warriors
already.
In my head, it is. How do they rebuild it? How do they? Is it just a case of let's focus on New Zealand talent? My God, New Zealand has some talent. Like, do we just focus on the Kiwi talent? do we go for signings? Do we sign your Dylan Walkers, your Marata Niukores to teach those players potentially? Like, how do we fix it?
I think it's super tough developing young talent in New Zealand for rugby league specifically, because a lot of kids grow up playing rugby in that country and they want to play for the All Blacks because of the rich history that the All Blacks have and the dominance that the All Blacks have, produced over the last, I would say, 50 years.
Yeah.
And that's all that's in these young guys' heads now. And it's so tough to get them to play rugby league and play for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go play for a club that has been in the comp since 1995 and they've made two grand finals. I mean, they lost both of them, but those runs were specific. But you can't live off the couple of runs that you made to a grand final day. But I do see a couple of young players there in their signings. You go with Metcalf. If they can lock down Ronald Volkman for a little bit as well,
that's not bad,
potentially
actually,
exciting.
Volkman,
young players as well.
Volkman's sneaky. I think you're right though. You got to try and change that culture because New Zealand is so culturally rich and they do believe in tradition. So what do you got? What do you have them finishing then? Is it a wooden spoon situation? Is it fighting for the 8th spot? Like,
No, they're not fighting for the 8. They're battling it out for the wooden spoon again, and it's so sad. Like, I love the Warriors. I think everyone loves the Warriors, right? They seem to be everyone's second favorite team, but I just can't bring myself to put them any higher than the bottom 3 teams in the comp this year.
If the Dolphins weren't in the comp, they're my spooner.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, Dolphins my spooner. Like Dolphins, look at that roster. But if they weren't there, the Warriors my spooner. I do like the Charles Nickel-Clockside story. I like him going back. I think he deserves to be a fullback in the NRL. I hope he's sort of come back properly from every injury he's had. He's had some pretty bad ones, but he could change things a little bit. He's a very solid defensive fullback. Potentially in a couple of years they might rebuild, but this year's, all right, we've got them pretty low. Look, Warriors fans, let us know in the comments if you think we're wrong, if you think the Warriors are actually a grand final bound, or if you think they'll win the spoon instead, because neither of us have them there either. All right, we'll see you next time.